Governor Whitmer signing an executive order forcing all K-12 school buildings to close and end face-to-face learning. Whitmer just wrapped up her announcement live here on Wood TV 8. Governor Whitmer says that schools will have the option to start early next fall without seeking a special waiver. Seniors will be allowed to graduate. All standardized tests, including the M-STEP and the SAT, will be canceled. School employees will be paid through the end of the year, and schools can start next fall before Labor Day. Within the past hour, the governor explained that while schools will be closed, districts must come up with alternative lesson plans.
This doesn't mean our kids will stop learning. Each district must develop an alternative learning plan for students to continue their education during this time. Plans will be different based on district. The plans will be locally driven and reflect the best interests of the kids in their communities. That means learning by phone or mail or online. That means project-based learning and paper packets, telephone lessons, and things that can be used as means of alternative mode of delivering instruction. Districts must make sure that their plans are appropriate and accessible for families in their schools. If the plan relies on some online instruction, the district should ensure that every student has access to an appropriate device with an ability to connect to the internet. Students and families will not be punished if they are unable to participate in their alternate learning plan.
We are getting early reaction in from school leaders. News 8's Lindsay McComel just talked with Zeeland Superintendent Cal DeKuyper.
Teachers have been planning for some kind of a remote learning, and we're not calling it online learning because not all students have online access. So we're intentionally calling it remote learning, whatever that might look like. And, teachers miss their kids and they want to teach and they want to stay connected and they wish they would have had a chance to have said goodbye in a better way. So they're looking forward to getting back in contact with their kids more intentionally.
And so for right now, what does that look like for Zeeland?
We have 350 teachers in all the different grade levels and all the different subjects, so it's complex. Our curriculum leaders, and that would include the central office people, but more importantly, the grade level teachers that are chair people and then the subject chair people have been getting pretty good at Zoom meetings with their grade levels or their subjects, trying to figure out what is this going to look like. So I think one of the most important parts for a community to understand is that when you have 6,500 students, and we've been doing it one way for decades, to rewrite the whole thing in a couple of days, we aren't going to be able to individualize it the way we like to. We're going to have to be more of across a grade level, across all of our schools. What will it look like? More common rather than individual.
Okay. In terms of that gap with the technology, with the internet access at home, have you already identified how many students, how many families need assistance with that?
Yes. In fact, we've done some survey work and some work we've done over the last couple of years. We know that about 1/4 of our families are very secure right now. They're ready to go full speed and probably looking at us like, how come we haven't been going already?
Okay.
We also know that 1/3 of our families do not have reliable, consistent internet. So you have across the spectrum of people who are ready.
We will be talking with leaders from several school districts throughout the day. You'll see that tonight on News 8 at 5. Let's bring in political reporter Rick Albin now. So Rick, your reaction to the governor's executive order this morning?
Well, I, like so many people, I think, Emily, expected this to be the outcome, because as we go on through this crisis, we have been told that staying at home and staying safe will be going on longer than perhaps that we thought. And it's also going to be a matter of keeping kids home and keeping them safe. So while this was something that I think a lot of people expected over the past week or so, the reality of it, as you have shown by talking to superintendents and school districts, is that we're not really ready for it. The schools don't really have that action plan in place. But I know that in some districts, they're promising by the middle of the month, by April 15th, they will have that in place, and that learning will go forward. We talked about earlier this morning when we were waiting on the governor's announcement about taking some time and cutting yourself a little slack, in your school district too, because it will take time to implement, but it's one of those things that we know now is a reality. So the question is, how quickly do we move forward? Also earlier today, we were talking with John Helmholt from GRPS, and he was talking about not only the problems that they'll be facing now, the challenges they'll be facing now, but what school districts will be facing in the coming school year. I want to point out that revenues to the state of Michigan are going to take a big hit because so many of us are staying at home, so much less sales tax revenue, and that's going to have a big impact on the budget. That's part of this story that I'm going to be following going forward. Just keep in mind that's going to have an impact on schools this coming fall, but for now it's about focusing on that distance learning. Emily?
School leaders do have a lot of work to do right now. Rick Albin, thank you.